Hello and welcome everybody, I am Herbert, aka the IT guy, and today we're going to go over how we can actually make a task on Windows start automatically at any time that we want to do it. So we're going to use the Windows task scheduler for this, and it's going to be by far the best way to do so and the easiest way to do so. There are ways you can do this with PowerShell as well, but that's a little bit beyond the scope of this video. We're going to just go with how to set it up with the task scheduler. So first of all, you need to, of course, open up your task scheduler. First of all, let me close my Discord here so it doesn't bother us in the middle of the video. So let's type in task scheduler, and you should actually see this immediately in your start menu. You should see task scheduler pop up. Just click that, and you'll be greeted with this window over here. So it already has a bunch of tasks assigned. So we can create these tasks ourselves, and we can do that very easily. So we have this list of tasks over here, so list of actions, excuse me, where we can either create a task or create a basic task, create a task. We can import tasks. We can also export tasks, of course. So if we actually create a task on our system, we can export that and copy that over to other systems. So those are the possibilities with the task scheduler, but we're just going to go over the basics, how to create a basic task, and then we're going to see how we can actually tweak it a little bit. We can also just do a more advanced task from the get-go. So instead of creating a basic task, we can also just create a task, and then we can immediately go into editing the details right away instead of first creating the task and then editing the properties. So yeah. So creating a basic task, which is the first option over here, gives us the opportunity to, or gives us the option to create a task, a basic task, which is going to have a trigger and an action. And that trigger can be, let me just show you guys. So we're going to name this test over here. And we can make this a daily task, a weekly task, a monthly task, a one-time task, whenever the computer starts, when I log on, and when a specific event is logged. So for example, let's say we want to do this daily. So we wanted to do this every single day. Now, doing it daily is okay if you're running maybe like a server, something that's running 24/7. But if you're running a system, you don't want to do that. You would rather do that when the computer starts, right? When you open up the computer, you want something to start during your session. So you don't want to plan this ahead of your session. So when you say I want to start everything at 3 a.m. Or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have to be working on that computer in order for that task to actually work. So using these options over here, so weekly and monthly, these are actually more aimed towards people who are working with servers. So having a one-time task is also something that can be handy if you, let's say, you're copying something and the estimated time is, let's say the estimated time to copy is 1 hour. So you can actually schedule that to be a one-time event after the copy is finished, for example, to actually make a backup of the files that you are copying, for example. When the computer starts is also an option. So that's actually when you first start your computer, and when I log on is a different option than when the computer starts. So when the computer starts is basically it will start on a system level. So what you'll actually need to do is you'll have to provide so you can make it run on the system level, or you can make it run on the user level. If you want to make it run on the user level, it will have to, you will have to provide credentials ahead of time, and then the computer will sort of log you on and perform the task whether you are logged on or not. And when I log in is actually when you open up your computer and when you enter your desktop, and that's when you log on. And then when a specific event is logged, let's just go over to the event viewer here. Let's just say, let's go into the system logs here. Let's say a specific event is logged. Let's just say that we receive a lot of errors over here. Let's just say this is an error over here that, that just pops up on my computer sometimes. Let's just say this error pops up, and for some reason I happen to not really have a solution for that error, but I do have a workaround. So whenever a certain error pops up, you might be wanting to restart a service, for example. So that's also a good way to work with a workaround. Instead of, when you don't really have a solution for an issue on your computer, you can actually have a workaround that does things when a certain event is logged. So let's say that the event is logged that service X has failed. We can start that service again automatically using this option over here when a specific event is logged. So we're just going to go with daily for now. We're just going to go with the basic option. You can explore these options a little bit if you want to, but we're just going to go with daily. I'm going to click next over here, and we can actually set our time. And let's just say we wanted to do this at 31.00, something like that. And we want to start a program. We also have the option to send a message or send an email, but these are being deprecated. So I think that they're still available, but Microsoft is getting rid of them. Maybe a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing, right? Because security-wise, these aren't really the best things to do. You're much better off just starting a programming and letting that program send that message for you rather than using the native email client or the native message client that comes with Windows, which haven't been really updated in the last couple of years. Well, maybe they have been updated a little bit, but you know, they're still not the most secure ways of sending emails and messages. So let's just run a program. Let's just say, let's open up Blender here. Let's click next and let's click finish over here. And when my clock hits, there we go. My clock just hit 3:31 and now Blender opens up on my computer automatically. So that's the way task scheduling works. And you can see that working right away. Now, of course, the task has finished and it won't run again until the next day. We can actually open up the properties as well, like I just did. Open up the properties and we can set some different triggers here. We can actually set multiple triggers now. And instead of actually going through this over here, I am actually just going to remove this task. So you saw that you can just edit the tasks, but what we're going to do is we're just going to click create task here. And you can see right away the options that we just saw are right over here as well. Just when you click create task, we get this blank task again, but we're actually already in the properties menu. So we can just enter test over here again, description test. Triggers are going to be daily, and we can actually recur this every 2 days, for example. So this is already something more advanced. So you don't want to perform this task every day. You want to perform it every second day. So those are options that were not available with the basic tasks, right? We can also set it. You can also set the other options over here. And so these were the options that we saw, but we also have at task creation modification, on connection to user session, disconnect from user session, all that good stuff. So these are actually more aimed towards more of a business environment, more of a corporate environment, like when you dock your workstation, when you unlock your workstation. On connection to a user session, disconnecting from user session, these things are probably more going to be towards people who work with RDP sessions. So RDP sessions are remote desktop sessions, and you know, that's when the user logs in a session. You can actually run a task for that user, or you can just run a task on the machine itself, not specifically for that user, depending whether or not you are an administrator. We can also set it weekly, monthly, or one time. And the nice thing about this is that we can actually perform tasks multiple times a day. So we can actually repeat a task every 1 hour of every day. And we can also make sure that all of the other tasks are not running at the same time. So that's also something that you cannot do with the basic task. So if you really want to really want to schedule a task, I would suggest you just create a task and you just work with this window over here. But creating a basic task just makes it a lot easier. If you just have a quick task you have to make and you don't really have to edit all of those settings in the properties menu, then you don't need to do this, of course. But this is handy for, let's say you are running a backup program and you want to make sure that you have a version of every hour. You can run a backup program every 1 hour. So that's something that you can do right over here. So let's just go with let's just go with this. Yeah, let's go with let's set that to 36. I'm gonna try to maybe time it perfectly, but I can't really promise if this is going to. So at 36, and the actions, let's just start a program again. Again, we can send an email and send a message, but those options are deprecated. And we can, let's just open up Blender again, all right? So it doesn't really matter all that much. So we can also set conditions, so specify conditions that, along with the triggers, determine whether the task should run or not. Task will not run if condition in the task will not run if any condition specified here is not true. So these are also conditions. So we can set it to make sure that we don't run the task when we're using a computer, right? So we also want to make sure that we idle the PC for at least 1 minute and wait for idle for 1 hour, and so that should also determine whether or not the computer is idle at that moment. So we're not gonna do that, of course. Of course, also power related, we want to make sure that we're not running on battery power. When we're backing up something like a laptop, we need to make sure that that laptop is running on AC power. Wake the computer up to run this task is also an option you can click here. And network connection, of course, when you are running in a network and you want to do a network backup, it shouldn't be, you should try to run a backup program if your network isn't connected. Settings also, run the task as soon as possible after a scheduled start is missed. So this is also something that you can enable. For example, if you want to run something daily and your computer wasn't online for some reason, you can also enable this, and then it will start up whenever your computer is running. If the task fails, restart every 1 minute, 5 minutes, so you can retry your tasks multiple times. Stop the task if it runs for longer than, let's just say, 1 hour or 2 hours. You can also enable that. And if the task is not scheduled to run again, delete it after 30 days, for example, right? So that's also handy. If you have a one-time task, you can set this to immediately, so that once the task has run, it gets immediately deleted. So do not start a new instance. If the task is already running, then the following rules apply. Do not start a new instance, of course, if the task is already running. And for some reason it starts again, then you just want to not start a new instance, of course, right? So I am going to leave it at that, guys. I hope this was a clear, you got a clear picture of how to use the task scheduler. I myself don't use it that often, but when I use it, I find it a very, very handy tool to use. And using a GUI is always easier than using a console or using PowerShell or anything else for that matter. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please hit that like button and leave a comment down below. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.